What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode. If you have asked yourself, where the heck have we been? Yes, it has been a while. It's been about a week since we streamed, but no worries. We are back healthy. I'm hoping so. How are you doing over there, Mythic?
Definitely healthier than I've been in the past week and a half. That is for sure. So, I can form sentences now. The allergies is what it seems to be right now. Or on the backside of the sickness, it's almost been 2 weeks. So I'm just praying that it's gone, man. But I'm feeling a lot better. How are you doing? It's been a while. It's been too long.
It has been. No, it has been. Obviously, I miss chopping it up. I think it's obviously been over a week, but there's definitely a bug going around it, and it most likely got you. So I'm glad you're feeling healthier. I'm glad you're feeling up to date. But let's get started, man. We got a lot to dive into today, and let me give a huge shout out here to the Instagram world as well, because we are now streaming on Instagram. So appreciate you guys here for tuning in. If you are on the YouTube world, appreciate you guys for being here. Obviously, smack up the like button and show some love here. Help the algorithm out. But yeah, let's get started here. We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna first dive into the Super Bowl's already set. Well, we got the opponents here for the Super Bowl, and although we might not like the matchup, it is what it is. We're going to be diving into that. We're also going to be talking a little bit Cardinals. We have a billboard that has been putting up in the entirety of the Phoenix area. And I know some people have beef with it. Some people don't have beef with it. So we'll talk about that billboard and a couple other Cardinals things. But let's get started, Mythic. Let's start off with you here, man. Let's start off with these games.
Man, oh man. It hurt my heart. This was America's chance to just kind of shut everything down, shut down all the rumors, the color rumor that you had with the purple and the red. The Ravens were supposed to come out here. It was in the script, is what people were saying. It was in the prophecy that the Ravens were going to make the Super Bowl, take the Chiefs out, shut down all the Taylor haters, and they came out and did nothing.
Yeah.
10 points. Lamar Jackson did not look good at all. This is a tough watch. To watch the Chiefs put up 17 points in advance to the Super Bowl. How are you feeling? What are your post-game thoughts about this one? Because me personally, this hurt my heart. And there's another one that we'll talk about in a second that hurt my heart too.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating because you're right. We were all kind of looking at Lamar Jackson as a savior of shutting down a lot of the narratives out there, and making sure that Patrick Mahomes doesn't go to another Super Bowl. And maybe it just might have been too much, but like, you got to give credit to that Ravens defense. Like, they really shut down the Chiefs in that second half, and I think that's exactly what the Ravens needed to get back into this game. But like, the offense just was making mistake after mistake, whether it's that taunting call with Zay Flowers, and he's a rookie, right? So I guess we gotta think about that too. But that, and then also stretching out and having that fumble, like, and then Lamar Jackson throwing it to Isaiah Likely because he put his hand up and he said he was open, and it was a triple coverage, and it was just mistake after mistake after mistake, and there's only so much you can do. And I understand that there's frustration that's caused, because of the idea of Lamar Jackson's not legacy, but like the narrative out there is the fact that he can't do well in playoffs. And he shut that down with the one win. But like, if you can't beat the guys that you should be beating, it's going to be the same narrative over and over again. So very frustrating. I feel like the Ravens could have won this game because, like I said, they shut down the Chiefs in that second half because the Chiefs scored 70 points. I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a shootout, and it might be a blowout. But the Ravens did exactly what, or at least the defense did exactly what they should do. Shut down Mahomes, but just the offense couldn't get it right, man. The run game was non-existent. And I kind of felt like Lamar Jackson was playing not like Lamar Jackson. Like, he almost kind of felt like a shell of him. Like, he was kind of scared to run. He did run a couple times, but it wasn't like there was fear that he was going to explode off for 20, 30 yards, like he usually does. So the Chiefs did a good job in terms of taking him out of his game and his element. And I think that was a big, big factor. So we're going to have to kind of suffer through another Mahomes and the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. But I mean, it is what it is. We're kind of witnessing the next great quarterback in front of our very eyes with Mahomes.
I mean, he's something. Pat Mahomes is just absolutely incredible. Like, I'll give him his flowers. He deserves it. The guy is freaking incredible. Like, the things he's able to do with this team with literally garbage men at receiver. He has Valdez Scanting, Rashee Rice, who's been all right this season, has had big-time games in the playoffs. Yesterday, I don't believe he had a fantastic game. Travis Kelce, but he's getting it done. And Lamar Jackson, I don't know what the Ravens were doing all game. It honestly puzzled me. Because a team that you are so dominant in the run game, you just shy away from it in the biggest game of the season, put up 10 points. And literally, I believe Lamar Jackson dropped back 82% of the snaps. It's something I saw. I saw Rex Ryan kind of hop on First Take and just like spiel and just call out everything. He's like, Greg Roman, we owe you an apology. Because like, what was that? You just fumbled like the biggest game of the season. I could not have guessed Lamar Jackson dropping back 82% of passes and just abandoning the run game, regardless of what the excuse is. Like the Chiefs were blitzing. Oh, it was in the scheme. They're trying to combat it. You still play to your strengths and find a way to either implement the run game in some way. Let me go ahead and check the exact stats because I believe there weren't many carries. Lamar Jackson was like the leader with like 7 or 8 carries on the game. How is that acceptable? Yeah, so Lamar Jackson, 8 carries for 54 yards, which is about Lamar Jackson. That's about what you're going to get from Lamar Jackson. It's about 8 to 10 carries. That's fine. But this is where it gets problematic. You got 3 players outside of Lamar Jackson who got carries. And take a guess. How many attempts? 2 of them are running backs. I'm going to let you guess. 2 running backs. How many carries did they get on the game?
Well, it's not fair because I'm looking at the stats myself, but they both have 3. Yeah, they both have 3.
3 carries total in an entire game. And then Zay Flowers had 2 for 4. 2 for 4 yards. You just can't have that. You cannot have that as a team who was so dominant on the run game. That is where you excel. Your quarterback, like Rex Ryan said, I'm going to reiterate this, is Lamar freaking Jackson. You don't have him drop back 82% and just ride out with that. He's not Tom Brady. He's not a pocket quarterback, right? Like that's not playing to his strengths. You're just putting him in a bad situation. You're trying to make him play football the way he's not supposed to play football. That's not where he excels. So they messed up. Like they genuinely did. They had the Chiefs right where they wanted them. You're going to look back at this game as a Ravens fan and kind of realize that your defense is the best it's been in a long time. The best it's been in a long time. You just held Patrick Mahomes to 17 points and you lost. That stings. Gotta sting.
It absolutely does, dude. It absolutely does. I guess kudos. I mean, people in the chat here. Got my guy Cards fan saying appreciate the greatness, guys, and I think that is kind of what we're looking at. But like, as a Cardinal fan, that like, I don't know, I don't know, I guess haterade is the best way to describe it. I didn't want to see Tom Brady win as much as he did, but you know, when he's gone, I appreciate him a lot more. But because Patrick Mahomes is in this level, and I get it, we are kind of watching, you know, not kind of, we are watching greatness in front of our eyes right now with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and stuff like that. And although I don't want to admit it, I'm kind of tired of seeing the same thing over and over again, but they are who they are. Like that is the reason why they're back there. And I think in the grand scheme of things, they just have the experience, man. They had the experience that the Baltimore Ravens didn't have. Like they're constantly in these type of games. And I guess that's a kind of a good segue to jump into the next game here. 49ers versus the Lions, shall we? Let's talk about that game because that was a little different. You had the Lions jumping up here to what, like a
24-7 lead at halftime.
Brother.
24-7. And I kid you not, 24-7 at halftime. I literally took a nap because, again, I'm not like fully there yet. I'm like in and out of consciousness is what it feels like. I'm still sick. I see 24-7. I set an alarm for like 55 minutes.
Yeah.
I wake up and it is a tied football game. 24-24. Like I literally like could not believe my eyes. I'm sitting there like, hold on, let me wipe my eyes and then just look up at the TV. It's tied. The Niners have the ball in control, and I'm like, how do we get here? Like I'm on Twitter trying to find everything, just like what are we doing? Yeah. How is this even possible? And just man, if a team is going to be sick, it's got to be Lions fans. It's got to be. You can't. I don't think you can get worse than 24-7. I really don't think you can at halftime. This is literally a runaway game, and they just couldn't control it. I mean, I get it. Like they had the half, right? It's 24-7. Obviously, it's the NFL. Anything can happen. And again, if they did it, why can't the Niners do it? You know, but you're in full control. And I believe the Niners got the ball at half, but you put one score up on the board right there and make it, let's just say 31-14. It's kind of game over. Or if you're just able to put points up on the board, they put up what, 3 points? Or what was it? 3 points in the entire second half?
The second half. Yeah. It was bad. No, for sure. This game, You're right, man. I was actually watching this game with a Lions fan because I have a buddy that's a big Lions fan. So we're watching the game together, and of course, I wanted to see our division rival go down, and not
Yeah.
see them have success. But it was really sad to see just polar opposites of how excited you were in the beginning of the game in the first half to, damn, what the hell just happened in front of our eyes? So like, it's crazy, but like it just was an unfortunate circumstances. Now, let me, I guess, correct ourselves. The Lions actually scored 7 points
Okay.
in the second half, but they scored what, 24 points in the first half, 7, and it can't get the job done. Now, the Lions had a opportunity to win. They did. That they missed out on 2 field goals because, the
They
aggressiveness of
went
Dan
for it
Campbell.
on
And I get
fourth
it.
down.
Dan Campbell has been doing this all year long, and I've been jumping into a lot of like Lions like streams because I kind of really want to hear what they have to say. A lot of people are kind of split. We got a lot of the fan base saying, of the Lions fan base saying, it's what Dan Campbell's been doing, right? So we shouldn't be surprised. But a lot of people are really pissed off, which is the decisions, because there's a 6-point swing there. They probably could have won, but it was
Yeah.
an unfortunate circumstances of everything happening. The not going for the field goals, the bouncing off the face mask, and Ayuk getting the freaking football. Like, that's just
Reynolds
crazy.
not being able to catch the football in crucial situations. There was 2 drops, I believe, that Reynolds
Yeah,
had.
Reynolds just forgot to catch. Gibbs always been dominant, pretty good for, really good for the Lions. He actually caused the fumble,
Yeah.
or had a fumble, and it's just circumstance after circumstance. It's just the momentum was completely swinging over to the 49ers, and I really hope that can put into Dan Campbell's mind, say, I got to get him these points. But like, that's what he's been doing all year. He's been doing that all year, and it's been successful. So why change it up? I guess that's kind of what some Lions fans are thinking. But in the end of the day, I think experience got the best of the Lions. They don't have experience in this, and the 49ers are constantly in this experience. The last 4 or 5 years, they've been in somewhat of this realm in terms of this deep into the playoffs. So I guess kudos to the 49ers, but it's still kind of salty because I don't know who to root for.
There's a graphic on the screen. It's like players that have made the championship game per roster. I don't know if you saw it, but it was like the Lions had 3 players. It was like CJ Gardner-Johnson, Jared Goff, and somebody else. It's slipping my mind. I think the 49ers had 18. So they've had players in situations like this that have battled through adversity and have basically had a very similar roster, or at least people who have had like the NFC Championship experience. It's a different level. Yeah. It's really a different level. As soon as you're starting to crack up to the Super Bowl and you're really 1 game away, and like everything could wither like literally between your fingers in the matter of seconds. And we saw it. It looked like the Lions were just on top 14-0. And it's like, okay, the Lions are going to get things going. I checked like a betting site, and the Lions, even though they were up 14-0, were still the underdog in this game. Like, believe it or not, you could have bet the Lions, they were like plus 100 and something, up 14-0. That's insane. Like, not even Vegas believed that the Lions had this in full control, and they didn't. They really didn't. It's just so much that got the best of them. And in my opinion, the Super Bowl matchup that I wanted couldn't have gone poorly, any more poor. Like, it really couldn't have. I wanted Lions and Ravens. I wanted Lions, Ravens, or Bills in the Super Bowl this season. And we were 1 game away from both sides. And now, like, it's such a lose-lose for me. I don't know if you're feeling the same way, but it's really a lose-lose. Like, I don't want any of these teams to win. And maybe I'm just, like, a hater of the Chiefs, right? Like, I think I prefer the Chiefs to win.
No,
I really do. I think I prefer the Chiefs, but, like, it's a lose-lose either way. Like, one's a lot worse, and one is bad as well because of just the outcome.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Honestly, I think this is kind of the situation that I'm finding myself in as well. And I guess, put that hater hat on me as well, because honestly, like, I don't want to see a division rival win a Super Bowl, but honestly, they are in prime position. Obviously got a 50-50 chance to go and to win it. And then you have Patrick Mahomes constantly in this situation since he's been drafted. Or I guess maybe almost every year since he's been drafted. But I mean, it's crazy. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We are witnessing greatness in front of our eyes, and I think I got to take the haterade glasses off myself, but I can't put myself to that level. So, anything else you want to talk about in these games before we jump into Cardinals? Now the Cardinals have been very, very quiet, very, very quiet. So, anything else you want to chime in about these 2 games?
Man, I kind of want to dive on Mahomes just like real quick. We are really witnessing greatness. Like greatness. Like, this man is literally stunting all elite quarterbacks of rings. Like we got Josh Allen, we got Lamar Jackson, we got Justin Herbert. Joe Burrow kind of has his number like slightly. Tom Brady obviously bounced him twice, but outside of that, that's about it. Like this man is really stunting people of rings, like elite level quarterbacks, just stunting them. It's crazy what we're witnessing. I don't know, like I don't know how his career is going to go post Travis Kelce, who has a couple years left, and then Andy Reid. Obviously, there's rumors of both of them like actually retiring if they win a Super Bowl this season. So it's going to be very interesting to see if Patrick Mahomes does lose both of them, how his career kind of turns out. Because a lot of people in Patrick Mahomes' early career have kind of said that the only reason that he's ever even developed to where he's at is because of Andy Reid and the offensive mind that he is, which I guess, it's like, it's fair. It's kind of just like the Tom Brady thing. Like without Bill Belichick, he's nothing. But again, he's the one on the field making the reads with the can of the arm, with no weapons, with no nothing. So I feel like it's a very dead statement. I feel like he is the best quarterback that we have seen since Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, like those guys. Like this guy is this generation's Tom Brady. And I'm not shying away from that.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree. The whole narrative of like the quarterbacks, like if you're a consistent quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, it's everything. Like the whole situation has to be perfect. And man, he landed on a great situation. Now, I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes wasn't a good thrower or a great improviser coming out. He was, and it's just it took everything in a perfect situation for him to sit out the time that he did to learn under
Alex Smith.
Yeah, Alex Smith. Having a coach like Reid, you really have to have a guy that's fully backing you 110% and making this like making this having given the young kid confidence and saying you can do it, you can become this great, and sometimes you just need that. And Reid and Mahomes is just perfect match in heaven, and it doesn't hurt that they have Kelce over there, which one of the best tight ends in the league. So definitely the Gronk, right? The Gronk of old times, I guess.
We're really witnessing a Brady Gronk 2.0 going on right here. Like we saw Brady and Gronk, even in the back end of their career, just kind of own Kelce and just own everybody. Like they just had it going. Whatever team they were on, that connection was unstoppable. And Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce couldn't get by him either. But like in terms of next generation, this has to be our generation's Brady Gronk.
Yeah. No, I agree. Huge shout out here to Cardinals fan. He says, "Hey, Daily Stuff here. What's up, Daily Stuff? Appreciate you for the super chat." He says, "Cardinals need a good linebacker and D-line this year. We are one good linebacker and defensive tackle. With Marvin Harrison, we are good." Yeah, I think we agree. I think Kazir White, we are all pretty excited about Kazir White and having the next year of him. I think we can both agree the fact that we do need somebody on that weak side linebacker, and it doesn't hurt to get an interior dog for sure on the D-line. And if we do get Marvin Harrison Jr., I think the Cardinals could be pretty good. But what are your thoughts on this before we jump onto more Cardinal stuff?
I think DT and Marvin Harrison Jr. is huge. I think either sign a corner and go either sign a corner or draft a corner, go get a nose tackle and maybe another down lineman. I don't know how they're going to address linebacker, but we have so many picks. So that has me kind of very excited because we have a lot of gaps. And a lot of them are defensive. So I feel like with the money we have and everything, the DT, weak side linebacker, maybe another DN corner, maybe another O lineman. Like we have positions that need to get filled, but we have the assets to do it. So I'm not really afraid that we're going to sit here and just have all these holes for the next 2 seasons. Like in 2 years, I think we're going to be fantastic. We're going to have a built out football team. 6 picks within the first 3 rounds. Geez, I can't speak. And 2 of those are first rounders. So you're getting 2 top 32 players on your draft board. And some of these aren't even going to be positioned in need. Yeah. Like we're not going to go out and draft a tight end. We're not going to go draft a running back in round 1, a quarterback. We're not going to go get a safety. Like there's positions we're just kind of set at, which is nice. So all these players that go off, all the safeties, all the quarterbacks, all the running backs, all the tight ends, like Brock Bowers and all the 3 quarterbacks that are projected to go top 3, like we're not going to need any of those. So all the people on our draft evaluation board in top 32, we're probably going to get 2 top 20 players on our board.
As long as we hit it, man. As long as we hit it, I think we'll be good. Actually
Absolutely.
staying with Mahomes, but obviously talking about the Cardinals here, there was a graphic that was kind of floating around. Now the number is obviously different, but there's this graphic, and I kind of want to get your take on, I guess, why do you feel confident about the future? And I'll kind of give my take on this. Obviously, this graphic was floating around from CBS Sports, and of course, they want to knock on a lot of the Cardinals. You kind of feel like says this: Sunday's game against the Ravens will be the Patrick Mahomes' 17th start, a playoff start. The Cardinals have existed since 1920 and have played 17 playoff games. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Sickening graphic, first of all. Let's go ahead and touch on that. That's sickening. And the sad part is we've witnessed a good amount of these playoff games.
Yeah, true.
In the past, like 10 seasons.
True.
So that's embarrassing. We've probably witnessed at least like 6 or 7. So since like 2008. Embarrassing graphic. And as you guys see, 1920, Patrick Mahomes is like a 6-year quarterback.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It sucks because this is the situation we're in, but I do have confidence regardless. Like, insane graphic as Patrick Mahomes now has more playoff starts than we do as a franchise. He's going to his 18th, which is his 3rd Super Bowl, I believe, or 4th Super Bowl. It's either 3rd or 4th, but 18 playoff starts, and we are stuck at 17 playoff games through, what is that, 105 years, 104 years? But like something just about Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon, just as a regime, I know a lot of people aren't entirely sold, and this season was tough, but there are a ton of bright spots, a ton of flashes that really do have me to a point where I'm confident. And it's, again, super very glimmer of hope, and you have to look into the future and just project a lot. It's a lot of projection.
Yeah.
But what I'm seeing in year one with Monty Ossenfort versus the past regimes, and we've had the Ken Whisenhunt, the Bruce Arians. We've had the Cliff Kingsbury, the Steve Wilkes. We just, dating back to wherever you want, the front office has never been as stable as I think it's going to be. I really don't. Like, it feels like everybody is bought in, and whatever happens to Michael Bidwell, which he might not be the owner in the next 5 seasons, I feel like this new regime, there's a lot of allegations.
Let's save up some money now, Mythic. Start saving your pennies. We're buying this team.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We'll take over. We'll take over. But this new regime, man, they got things going for them. The players are bought into our head coach. You can't ask for more. Your GM, obviously, Steve Keim was on the sideline, but there's a whole bunch of BS coming out about players not messing with them and yada, yada, yada. And all these players are coming out and talking crap. We had, Tyrann Mathieu. We had Budda Baker, and those are just the people. Like, obviously, a lot of Cardinals fans are super split, but it was more than them. Yeah, it was more. They let Calais Campbell walk out the door, which should have never happened. Obviously, with money, it's tough where our salary cap was. Still should have just threw the Birkin at him. You got to throw the bag. You really do. And I don't know. I feel like this new regime, although they might let some people walk out the door that are fan favorites, like Hollywood Brown, might leave in free agency, right? Like, he might genuinely get packed up in free agency, and Budda Baker could get traded in a season or 2. Like, who knows, right? But whatever happens, I genuinely trust. Like, the decisions that have been made, for example, cutting DeAndre Hopkins, it's going to work out in our favor because we're going to accumulate so much money from it. And at the time, we're just taking on that dead cap. Looks bad on paper, but he doesn't want to play here. That's the right decision. Cut him, part ways, do right. DeAndre Hopkins isn't going to come out and talk crap about the franchise, like holding him here for money or whatever, and holding his money and not giving him what he wants, obviously playing for a bad team on the back end of his career and just holding him hostage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be positive things. And Isaiah Simmons getting traded for a 7th rounder, I even thought that was questionable. I thought we'd get like a 5th at least. Yeah. But again, 5th versus 7th, not like the biggest difference in the world. Yeah. You still got to pick for a guy that you were even probably going to just cut. So I'd say it's a W.
We're talking about peanuts. If you're 5th to 7th, like, it's not that big of a difference.
It's not that big of a difference. You might hit on that 5th round pick, but at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter. You still got to pick. And then on top of that, we have a lot of money, which people are kind of sleeping on. We could get a big time free agent. Like, we really could. We can go throw a bag at somebody like Brian Burns, Jalen Johnson. And we had picks with the GM who did pretty dang well in year 1, I would say.
So for me with this whole graphic, and I apologize, Cardinals fans, I shake my head, I'll take off the screen. And just to kind of, and we're going to stop talking about this here pretty soon, but continue to talk about this. I guess my whole take is, obviously the first part of this tweet here might come off of like a little rough around the edges. But like, I guess the way that I was perceiving this is obviously first step to fixing the problems, realizing there is one, right? And there was a problem. There was a big problem. And there was a lot of Cardinal fans calling for the head of Steve Keim. And for some reason, Michael Bidwell refused to see it. And why did it take as long as he did? And it's not the fact that we don't appreciate what success we had under Steve Keim and what big flash moves he made, because I do appreciate it. I love the fact that we were getting those things, but in the grand scheme of things, like, you can't build a culture off double standards, right? You went out here and literally cut Michael Floyd, no questions asked, because of a DUI. And then what did we do? Slap Steve Keim's hand on the wrist and said, "Oh, you can continue your job." And that whole burner phone situation, he probably wasn't even suspended. So like, it's just a lot of stuff like that. In order for you to rally employees together or people that you're paying, you got to make sure that everything's squeaky clean at the top. And it just wasn't. It really wasn't. So a lot of weird stuff ended up happening at the end part of Cliff Kingsbury's regime. Not all his fault. There's actually word that he might even come back into the NFL as an OC. So good for him. I don't wish downfall in him. I just never thought he was a head coach material.
Yeah.
Maybe an offensive coordinator, but the Cardinals were in no position to downgrade a guy. You wouldn't want to be downgraded if you were a supervisor and said you can't get the job done, go down to a lower level. You didn't want to stay with that company. I almost promise you guys wouldn't want to stay with that company. So the Cardinals weren't in that situation to just demote him. You just can't do that. So they had to cut ties. Yes, they made a mistake. They extend these two guys, Cliff and Keim. They extended them, stupid things, but this year was an absolute throwaway year. Yes, and during the season, was I kind of, like, hurt? Yeah, I wanted to win more, but it's okay, right? Now that we're outside the season, I get it. We got some draft picks. We got the money. Let's focus on 2024. That's when we're going to be making the big noise. We weren't going to contend for a Super Bowl. We weren't going to be at the end. We weren't going to do any of that stuff. So although, right, the Hurts loss when it kept piling up, yes, they did. But now that we're out of the season, I'm just glad for it. And let's look at the future. In Monty we trust. I don't grade him on his first year. I truly feel like his hands were tied. I don't think he could do anything. There was a lot of dead money. I think Michael Bidwell wanted to recoup a lot of his stupid mistakes. So I don't judge Monty on his first year. Let's see what this year does. This is when I'm going to start not judging, but really evaluating what Monty Alstonport is. I like his draft picks. I think he does good. I want to see free agency. I want to see who's going to resign. I want to see what draft picks he's going to bring up. So that's just kind of the way I feel about it.
I can't wait to see the hard decisions. Like what happens with Hollywood, like how... Like, I feel like Monty, like, I really do feel like he's super business oriented. He's not going to make a decision that in his eyes isn't going to be successful for the team. Like, if it's like, I get it. Like, this is where Steve Keim and Michael Bidwell, I feel like, could not separate anything. I don't think they could separate friendships versus business. Like, I genuinely don't. Like, Steve Keim, as much as, like, I want to say, like, he was just letting, like, elite level talent walk out the door, he was making wrong decisions.
Yeah.
Tyrann Mathieu had how many years of elite level football after the Cardinals? He had how many all-pro seasons, Pro Bowl seasons, Calais Campbell, an all-pro season literally the year after. Patrick Peterson, obviously not the best, but like at that time, he still would have been our best corner on the roster the following season.
Yeah.
Not the same Pat P. Don't get me wrong. He's not locked down where you put him on a receiver every single time. You're just going to lock him up. He's not the 8-time Pro Bowler that we were used to after coming off that PED suspension, but he was still the best corner that we would have had. Yeah. Better than Byron. You pair both of them together, you could even hey, Pat P, listen. Byron Murphy, young emerging corner, I would love for you to, honestly, at this point in your career, CB2. We'll pay you $6 to $8 million just to be CB2. I'm sure he would have taken that. He didn't want to leave Arizona. Just bad business at the end of the day. Just letting all this talent walk out the door. I feel like Monty, if it does come down to Hollywood, Hollywood's like, listen, I want to go chase a bag. And Monty's probably going to lay him a number. Like, I really do feel like Monty Alstonport is going to lay him a number. But he's not going to go over a number. He's not going to push it. I really feel like he's not going to push it. I feel like he's going to be like, hey, here's 10 mil, 11. Yeah, like, we'd love to have you back, but not that 15, 16, 17 mil, whatever that Carolina would probably go pay you. Right? They're desperate. We're not. Like, we're really not. We got Michael Wilson. We got the number 4 draft pick. We're probably in a position to either get Rome Odunze or Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, we're going to be able to bring – or Malik Neighbors. I forgot all about him. Like, we're in a position to go get one of these guys. Like, if it doesn't come down to that and you don't want to be back, oh, well. Like, it's whatever at the end of the day. But I feel like he's going to make great business decisions. There's a lot of players that I feel like are going to look at this team We have James Conner to advocate. We got Kyler Murray as a franchise piece that a lot of people within the NFL do like Kyler Murray. The hate outside of the NFL media and by the fans is something that's not translated in the NFL world. You see players come out here and they talk positive about him. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't within the NFL world, but a lot of players do. And I feel like they are going to see what the Cardinals are building, and things are going to get done. We're going to be a team next year that I think is going to actually contend for a playoff spot. And I know that's like kind of just like lowballing, whatever, but I feel like we're going to have a positive record next season. I don't know why, but I feel like we're going to take that leap just like the Detroit Lions did and kind of either figure it out or border teeter-tot on like the 8 to 9 win train. Because our schedule looks kind of promising too.
It does, yeah. The big difference between us and the Lions, obviously, we all want to take the next step, right? We want to be better for, but I think I would take Kyler Murray over Goff any day, personally, right? In terms of being a guy that's going to be able to make those dynamic plays, do things with his legs. Like I would take Kyler Murray over. Now, obviously, if you look at this season, some people pick Goff, and that's completely fine. And I get that. But I'm talking about for the future in terms of what potential and the highest ceiling, I feel like Kyler has the highest. So I hope this can be expedited. I hope it doesn't take 2 more years, but I want to see the Cardinals contend. I think we're in a perfect position having your franchise quarterback back, get a couple pieces here and there in free agency, kill the draft. And I think hopefully we'll be able to being contending of the West, or at least close to it, right? I don't want to be in the number 4 anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of being the bottom dwellers, but it is what it is. So let's segue into something else real quick. This is something that's been very, very in the world of, there are some Cardinal fans that don't care about this too much, and there's some Cardinal fans that do care about this too much. There's one thing I want to talk about, and I want to get everybody's take here in the chat, Instagram world, as well as the YouTube world. I want to get your guys' take here in the chat below. So over the weekend, or I guess on Friday or Thursday, I don't know when these billboards ended up coming up. So there was some billboards coming up, and if you're not from Phoenix, Arizona, you might not know who this law firm is, but they're those guys that have those, I'm not gonna say goofy, but like they got those commercials out there, right? So they ended up putting a billboard out there, and it says, "Let's go Brock Purdy." Now this is all over Arizona, or I guess all over the metropolitan Phoenix area. So you're talking about, Peoria, Glendale, every space around the Phoenix metropolitan area, these billboards out there. And I also heard they were around California. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I heard that. So what are your thoughts here on this? And we're talking about metropolitan area, one of the biggest cities in the United States, maybe top 5, maybe top 7, top. We're top in terms of populated areas here in Phoenix. What do you think about this billboard here in terms of a law firm putting "Let's go Brock Purdy," and obviously he's the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers? What are your thoughts?
That's kind of nuts, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. The fact that this is in Arizona is crazy. Like, I get it if you're from Arizona and you want to support someone who went to high school here and played high school football, but what are we doing? Like, could you imagine, let's say Texas, the Dallas Cowboys, the Houston Texans promoting that interdivision? Let's just, like, you can't even make it up because this is interdivision, but like an interdivision team, Texas, the Dallas Cowboys promoting like "Let's go Kyler." Like, it's just not gonna happen. It's wild. Like, I like, if you genuinely root for him and you're an Arizona Cardinals fan, do what you want. But the fact we have a law firm posting on billboards, which they're paying to do this, by the way, like they're literally paying to do this.
Right.
They're promoting another quarterback. It was not even in Arizona. Like, why? Like, it's gross. Like, I get he's a hometown kid, but I don't know. Like, it's interdivision. Like, I don't know. They're paying for that. Like, it's crazy. They're paying to put that up there. I can't get behind that.
I agree. No, I agree. And I'm glad we're kind of have the same take on this, because I'm not sure if you read the top part, but I ended up putting here in the Twitter world, "This is blasphemy. The Arizona Cardinals, this is Arizona Cardinal country." So I agree with what you said. In terms of, like, I feel like this wouldn't slip in any other market, or slide. I'm sorry, not slip. This wouldn't slide in any other market, other than, I feel like, here, because like, we are such a city of transplants. It's so crazy. I mean, you have the privilege of being born and raised here, as well as myself. So like, I think there is a level of, I guess, not a personal attack, but a personal feeling of like, damn, like, seriously, like, okay, I get it. Brock Purdy was played here, right? In terms of his high school days. And he's from, I believe, Chandler or somewhere in the East Valley. And that's completely cool. But in the grand scheme of things, this is Phoenix, Arizona. We're not talking about a small populated, I would even throw Yuma, Arizona out there. And I'm not sure if you know where Yuma is, but it's a city close to California, right? If you want to throw it in Yuma, that's completely fine. I'm cool with that. But we're talking about a metropolitan area here, Phoenix, Arizona, that has their team. They have a team here in Glendale, and it's the Arizona Cardinals. You're going to come out here and say, go Brock Purdy. And here's the thing. I've been going back and forth with some Cardinal fans out there that feel like it's not a big deal, and some that truly feel the same way that we do in terms of it's disgusting. But there's some Cardinal fans out there that are like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. You're not going to sit here and tell me that this can happen. And let me give you this example here real quick, ladies and gentlemen. This would not happen in LA. You will not catch anybody saying, go Jared Goff. They wouldn't do that. And if you guys don't know, Jared Goff was born in LA, or he was born in California. You won't see a billboard saying, go Jared Goff. We support you. No, the Rams fans want nothing to do with Jared Goff right now because, and here's the kicker, he's in our division. They're not even in the same division. They just have two quarterbacks that swapped with each other, Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff. This wouldn't happen in any other market but here, and it pisses me off that we have people saying, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Bruh, that's disrespect. And if the Cardinals don't take that as disrespect, I don't know. I'm starting to question culturally because that's not right. Man, that's not right. I'm not going to go anywhere and saying, I don't expect Dallas to do that for Kyler. If Kyler's in the playoffs, did they do that for Kyler? No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
I know this is completely different, but just imagine, right? You're a Chiefs fan, and just hypothetically, the Bills bounced you out of the playoffs, right? And you're whipping around, and then you're like, oh, that's a nice billboard. What does it say? Let's go, Josh Allen. Like, you're going to smack the crap out of somebody. You're going to do everything in your power to get that down. Obviously, it's not the same situation, and it's not the same division, not hometown kid, but, like, regardless, like, you see a sign like that, you're like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, I get he's a hometown kid, but, like, I don't know. I don't get it.
Did we do that for Christian Kirk?
No.
I mean, I get it, he's not a quarterback. Did we do that for Byron?
We wouldn't, though. That's the thing. You're like, it's not the quarterback position. It's not whatever. It's not like top or whatever. I don't understand. I really don't. It's weird. It's Arizona. Arizona and billboards, man.
I mean, this will all change if the Cardinals just start winning. Like, that's literally what it is. It isn't rocket science, man. It isn't something where we need to crack a code that, obviously people are talking about the script. Just freaking win. You win. This stuff won't happen because we have a lot of Cardinal fans that are that are teetering with other teams because we don't have success, and that's fine. That's cool. I mean, I'm not mad at you guys. I don't blame you. Sometimes I question my life decisions, right? And that's completely fine. But in the grand scheme of things here, just freaking win. We're so tired of it. We're so tired. So we're all hoping for the glimmer of hope that Monty Austinfort's going to get us that, and Jonathan Gannon. So we're all hoping. We're excited.
Yeah, it's crazy to see that, but I am definitely excited for the future and what Arizona has in store. I think we're going to change it. I think we're going to finally correct some narratives about this team and hopefully have more than 17 playoff appearances. Let's go ahead and fix that too.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of things to fix for sure. We got Cardinals fans saying, can we trade Hollywood? And so no, he's actually set to be a free agent. The Cardinals missed their opportunity to trade him in the trade deadline. So because he's a free agent right now, we can't get anything back from him. I'm not sure if we can get a compensatory pick. I don't know if we can, but that's not going to, compensatory. I'm not sure if we can get that till like either next year, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I don't know how that works.
I think we're going to miss out on some compensatory picks this season for like Chandler Jones, I believe, Byron Murphy. There's a couple people that we're I believe, missing out, but it doesn't really matter. We still got to haul.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like we're talking about like first or second round. We're talking about
it's like fourth round, fifth round picks.
Yeah. And although I think we're all kind of proud that Monty can most likely hit because Dante Stills looks pretty damn good, and I'm excited about him. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. There was a question here in the chat that was asked in the beginning of the stream. So I apologize that we weren't able to get it to it now. But people in the chat want to know, what is Kyler Murray's cap hit this year? And I do have it up here if you don't mind. Kyler Murray's cap hit for the 2024 season is $51.4 million. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. So I've said this before on my channel since I've been up. This is the year right here, 2024 is when I was dreading coming. Because Kyler Murray's deal was as friendly as a quarterback can be the last 2 years.
Yep.
Because we're talking about like 19, like the cap hit was like 19, like it was crazy low. This is the year right here in 2024 that the cap hit is massive, massive, $51.4 million for Kyler Murray, and he has a guaranteed salary of salary of 35.3. So yeah, it's massive. But we have cleared a lot of money off the books.
Yep.
So the Cardinals are projected, and like I said, this can change. So please keep in mind this can change.
Cuts, restructures, and all that.
Yeah, restructures, cuts, trades, anything like that. So this can change. Right now, per over the cap, and I know there's different numbers floating around, but I'm just going to kind of throw a ballpark. I think the Cardinals will have anywhere between 45 to 50 or to $60 million. Is that the number that you're looking at too?
That's a number that I've been hearing. It's a lot of like 45 to like 54.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Me too. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing, but things can change. TJ Humphries has had a big drastic injury that the Cardinals need to make a decision on. Do we draft an offensive lineman with the top 4 pick? Do we get rid of him? I don't know, right? Things can change in a heartbeat in terms of money. So that's where we're at right now. It's saying $41 million projected, but I think when it's all said and done with restructures, we might have anywhere between 45 to 55, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and then post-draft, post-free agency, it's a lot plays in, and then restructures and all of that, and whether, let's just say we cut DJ Humphries, like post-June 1st cuts and before June 1st cuts are obviously going to play a factor into this as well, and when the most cap space is going to clear up, or what cap hits are going to be.
Yeah,
there's a lot that plays into this, but I trust our GM. Our GM obviously has the money and the finances down more than I would. He has people in the building navigating their way. They know what they're doing. So I believe. I genuinely do. And if we do have that much money to teeter-totter around with, I mean, that's a lot of money to dabble with. That's a lot of money to dabble with.
Yeah, and that's not to mention if the Cardinals, and I'm seeing people here in the chat, like we would have to pay that 4th round pick as well. Obviously the 4th overall, and that would be hefty. Those rookies, especially top 5, aren't cheap. Obviously the number 1 overall pick is gonna be more expensive, but like that top 5 is really expensive.
Getting paid crazy nowadays. And number 4 is no joke. So
yeah. So if it is a wide receiver, maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. does fall to us. It ain't going to be cheap, but it's definitely something that you have to do in terms of obviously building out your team, because our wide receiving core is suspect.
Absolutely. And if we lose Hollywood, we got to get somebody to come in here and shape it out a little. Yeah. Marvin Harrison would do that for sure.
What are your thoughts here in terms of like, do you think, obviously the Cardinals have the finances to get a big guy out there, right? Like big name. Do you see a Brian Burns coming to the Arizona Cardinals or Jalen Johnson? Do you see that happening?
The more I think about it and the more I kind of like set with it, I could see it. I don't know I don't know if that's the direction I would necessarily go, but Brian Burns would be huge.
Yeah.
Like it really would. It's just so much money designated to one player. To an edge is probably, outside of quarterback, edge is probably the most sought after position in the league just because of how much of an impact it is. And it's one of the most paid. Edge rushers get paid crazy. We saw Von Miller at like 33 years old sign like a 4-year, $120 million contract. Yeah. Obviously a couple of those years are like ghost years, but like, you see the number? He's getting paid like 60 M's and he's kind of just non-existent right now for Buffalo.
Yeah.
You can get paid hefty. His contract, I don't even know where to begin with that. Like, I really don't. Carolina's kind of shied away because they're not really in a position to bring talent like that back. But if they want to build, that's a player that's going to suck to lose. But, I mean, he's sitting in free agency right now, and I don't know what his projected cap is, but we're probably looking at over $20 million a year.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, it's probably going to push 20 M.
Per pass rusher is definitely one of those high coveted, high market type of dollar signs you're going to definitely be paying for. Wide receiver and then guess what? That's what we need. That's what we need. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. If it's a need, bring it in.
Yeah.
You know, we do need an edge. That is a player who is, I believe, 26 if I'm not mistaken, 25. Super young. He's
Talking about
been in the
Brian Burns,
league.
right?
Yeah, I believe he's been in the league since like 2019, I believe, if I'm not
25, yeah.
mistaken. He's 25. Like, he has so much upside and potential to his game, too. And he's already showing so many flashes, and he's just already an elite edge rusher. If we can bring him in, even if we throw a bag at him, not going to complain at all. I'm not complaining whatsoever. It's just the contract is going to be crazy.
I mean, you still have the risk of them franchise tagging Brian Burns, but he is set to be a free agent, unrestricted free agent too. So that's going to be something that it's just going to depend on what is he going to go for the big money. The Cardinals have money to spend, but I can see the Carolina Panthers maybe throwing a big bag, but like, I don't know, man. I'm not sure if anybody really believes in Bryce Young other than the people that are really optimistic about their Panthers. But like,
I
I don't
think
know.
Bryce Young has something to him.
Do you?
That team is terrible.
Yeah, it is. No,
That's
it's
the
true.
thing. That's the thing nowadays. I don't really give up on quarterbacks, and Bryce Young just no time, no time in the pocket whatsoever. And then on top of that, you have no one giving you separation. You're just in the worst situation. You're just taking hit after hit. And I mean, a lot of people are just so quick to give up on QBs nowadays. Like, one season's not it. You're taking over the worst team in football. Not everyone is just going to come in here and just like, I put the backpack on God mode. Here we go. Like,
Right.
it's going to take years to build out a team. It does. And Carolina sucks. I'm not a fan of their owner. Like, I really am not a fan of Tepper. I feel like Belichick would be someone. If you could take over anywhere for Bill Belichick, I would throw a bag at him right now. Don't care. I don't care if you're 75, 76, 74, whatever you are. I'm throwing a bag at you. I want you to take GM control. I'm going to sit back and just zip it. He's made the decision to draft Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. And looking back on it from rookie season, one season isn't career, but the first season of CJ Stroud was leaps ahead of Bryce Young. And David Tepper had his guy, even fired a head coach over it. And who was their quarterback coach? Was it Josh dang, what's his name?
McDaniels?
I don't know. It was a former quarterback. It was a quarterback coach for the Panthers that they fired.
Oh,
I don't remember who it was, but it was a former quarterback.
Oh, McCown?
Oh, Josh McCown. That's who it was. They fired Josh McCown, and they both wanted CJ Stroud, and they advocated for CJ Stroud.
That's crazy.
Like, it's crazy. Like, honestly, if you're David Tepper, throw a bag. Just zip your lips, go be an owner. Like, you don't see Michael Bidwell sitting here on the sideline throwing cups of water. He's doing other things, I guess, which, again, I don't know if he'll be the owner here in 5 years.
Yeah.
But just, I don't know. The Panthers, weird situation.
Yeah.
Weird.
No, I agree for sure. Just to give a little context here, Brian Burns is 25 years old. I think he's going to be 26 when the season starts. But gave the Carolina Panthers 8 sacks, 32 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, and for his career, he's got 46 sacks for his career so far. So obviously a guy that's a playmaker. I think what people expect is if we do bring somebody in like that is somebody like Chandler Jones, man. Chandler Jones, bro. When he was with the Cardinals, one of the best second round picks we've given up. And that I give kudos where kudos good. That was a really good pickup from Steve Keim in terms of getting him because that man was producing. It's unfortunate to see how his life's turning out right now in terms of like, I guess just the way it looks like from the outside. I mean, if everything's good and gravy, then cool. I'm happy for him. At least seems happy. I don't know.
Right.
But it's just, I miss Arizona Cardinal Chandler Jones, especially when we got him back in 2016. Man, this man was prime, brother. I mean, prime. This guy was good. Giving us like 19 sacks in a season, 17 sacks in 2017. Like, this man was producing for the Cardinals. And I hope that would be what we can bring back in because we need it.
That's one of the best edge rushers we've ever had, regardless of what's going on right now. Like, this man is part-time CTE owner, part-time musician, part-time tattoo artist on people he doesn't even know. Like, the man is losing his marbles, but
Steve Keim, he's happy.
Right?
He's happy.
Right? But Steve Keim, I like. There are moves that he's made where you got to give him his flowers. Yeah. And one of those was Bruce Arians. As much as they seem like they clashed a lot because Bruce Arians wanted the team his way. And obviously I think Bruce Arians was in the right headspace. I think Bruce Arians knew what he was doing. Came back, obviously won a championship. I think he knew what he was doing a lot more than Steve Keim did. I mean, he brought Carson Palmer in, and look at how that worked out for us too. One of the best quarterbacks in franchise history, right there.
The the funny thing is that so I was rewatching the All or Nothing Amazon exclusive that Hard Knocks had nothing on that, man. That All or Nothing was such a great show. But I do remember Bruce Arians saying that he was the one specifically bringing up the idea that we need to bring in Carson Palmer. Like, what we need to call up the
Oakland.
Raiders and say, hey, Oakland at that time, and say, hey, we need to go for him. And they did. And it worked out for the Cardinals, because you're right. It's so crazy, dude, that the most success the Cardinals have had is within the last 20 years. It's so crazy. Isn't that crazy? That, like,
I'd say the last 15, right?
Yeah.
Dating back to 2007.
Yeah. That's the success that the Cardinals have had. You're right. Yeah, we're early in 2024 right now. You're 100% right. But yeah, it's wild. But like, it's just it gives us excitement. Like, it gives us excitement because we're hoping that this can continue the trend in the right direction. And we see teams like the Lions. We see teams that kind of remind us of us, and we want to get to that level in terms of consistency. Like, I don't care about 1 year and then we fall. No, give me consistency. Give me consistency is what I'm looking for. And I hope Monty can get us that, and Jonathan can. He seems confident, and I'm cool with it.
Right. Players are buying into. That's the biggest part. Like, players are optimistic, looking for next season. So if they're optimistic, there's no reason we shouldn't be, in my opinion. I feel like we should have full confidence and just rock with it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, man. Any last thoughts here before we close up shop?
Man, I think that's about it. Just looking forward to, not this Sunday, I believe it's next Sunday after this, Super Bowl. Time to wrap up the season, because that means our season basically kind of starts again. We're starting up very shortly with free agency. We got the draft. We're going to have a direction for this team. It's not going to be any more anticipation. It's not going to be any more money talks, draft pick talks. We're going to have everything established soon. And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. Obviously, just get this season behind us. This is kind of just a throwaway season to begin with. Kyler Murray was out for like the first 10 games.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I am freaking ready. I'm assuming you're right there with me. This is kind of where our season, or our like timeline, really starts with Monty.
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty much in February. We're a couple days away from February, and then once February's done, we got the Super Bowl. And then after that, we got March, which obviously is free agency talk. And then we got April. And then after April, we got the dead season between May, June, and July. But that's just 3 months, baby. That's just 3 months, man. We got football right back again. So it might seem like a long time, but we got a lot to dive into. So I'm excited about this offseason with the money we have, with the draft picks that we can do. And hopefully we can rebuild this up the right way. So
absolutely.
All right, y'all. We're going to be closing up shop. Thank you, everybody. Instagram world, first time tuning. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, check us out here on Big Red Pod on YouTube, a brand new channel. If you notice this guy Mythic over here, it's not his channel. It's not the AZ Sports Fan YouTube channel. It's a brand new channel here called Big Red Pod on YouTube, and basically it's long form content where we just kind of chop it up and talk to each other about our favorite teams. So we're going to end the stream here right now. Thank you everybody for tuning in. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, go Cards.
Absolutely.